All right, everybody. Well, welcome to another edition of Marilyn's Cafe Society radio show. So glad to be on the air again with you guys. And of course, we have a great show planned, so you don't want to go anywhere. In fact, go ahead and let your friends and family members know that the show is on the air. Hopefully, we won't have any bloopers. Last time we were on with Tawatha Ag, of course, the camera fell a couple of times and we had some other bloopers. It seems to be a running theme here with the show as we continue to work out all the kinks and bring you a great show. All right, so how are you guys doing? Well, it's back to school time. I saw the kids earlier this week, waiting at the bus stops and, hearing family members and, of course, friends and others talk about shipping their kids back off to school or off to college for the first time. So we wish everyone who's going back to school a wonderful school year. And you make it happen. You make it happen. Get those grades and get those reports in on time. And of course, try to squeeze in a little fun too, right? All right. So it's also fall fashion time. I'm noticing in the stores that the fall clothes are out, the summer clothes are on clearance, and so it's a reality, folks. We're winding down these last few days of summer. In fact, today happens to be the 66th day of summer. It's Saturday, August 25th, 2018. Again, welcome to another edition of Maryland's Cafe Society. And in just 4 more months, in fact, 4 more months from today's date, we will actually be celebrating my favorite holiday, Christmas. That's right, December 25th. All right. So anyway, we're a little late today getting started, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into on this day in history. In 1829, listen to this. President Andrew Jackson made an offer to purchase Texas, but the government of Mexico refused on this day in 1829. Now, after a few more years of going back and forth with Texas, and before selling to the United States, Texas actually became an independent little country of its own, separate from Mexico, but eventually was annexed into the United States and became one of the states here in the United States. Now, it seems that President Jackson thought that the Texas territory should have been included with the Louisiana Purchase that happened. And I believe that purchase ended up being from France, although I know Spain and Britain owned parts of Louisiana too. So the big question is, how did he think Texas would be a part of the Louisiana Purchase if Mexico, the government of Mexico, actually owned that area? So it's all a little bit, mixed up there. I guess we can do the research to find out. But anyway, I thought that was just some interesting historical points to make. All right. And then on this day in 1910, the Yellow Cab was founded. But listen, there are some sources out there that are saying that cabs existed as early as the 17 and 1800s over in Europe. And in 1907, there's research out there that says that John Hertz founded the Yellow Cab Company of Chicago. And in 1908, it's on record that Albert Rockwell founded the Yellow Cab Company in New York City. So this 1910 date is a bit questionable, but I checked a couple sources and they all said this, that on this day in history in 1910, the Yellow Cab was founded. I don't know. All right. And then bringing us a little bit closer to the millennial, in 1968, on this day in history, Arthur Ashe became the first African American to win the United States Singles Tennis Championship. And in the millennial, in 2001, on this day in history, R&B pop singer Aaliyah and 8 others lost their lives in an airplane crash while attempting to leave the Bahamas. So those are some notables there for on this day in history. In fact, if we have any Aaliyah fans out there, if you're tuned in or later on you catch this and you know some young people who really loved Aaliyah and are still doing up their bedrooms with Aaliyah, or posters in general of some of their favorite singers, yeah, reach out to me because I happen to know where some really nice Aaliyah posters are that we can share. Yeah, there's no cost involved. So just reach out to me at Marilyn's Cafe Society at yahoo.com. Or, of course, you can call 815-593-1695 for to contact me as well regarding those Aaliyah posters. Yeah, remember as kids you would decorate your bedroom walls with posters of your favorites. So again, for those who really enjoyed Aaliyah, we have those posters. All right. Well, Cafe Talk will be coming up a little bit later on in the show, but here it is. As you guys know, we haven't been together since the news broke about Aretha Franklin passing away. And so Cafe Talk is, what is your favorite Aretha Franklin song? You can go to my social media on Facebook, Maryland's Cafe Society, or you can go to Twitter, Maryland's Cafe Soch, and chime in. And then later on, we'll open up the opportunity for you to actually text and let us know what your favorite Aretha Franklin song was. But for now, let's take a quick look at some cafe news. And I tell you, it's been a lot of news out there. It's just a bit challenging trying to highlight what I wanted to talk about or at least report on. And so here's one that hit the headlines on yesterday, and that's, of course, the fact that Arizona Senator John McCain has decided to discontinue his medical treatment for that aggressive form of brain cancer that he has. This report, of course, came from a statement from his family, and many are suggesting or believing that this is an indication that he may be nearing the end of his life. And I myself and my family sadly experienced that with my mom, and so many people are going through this thing with cancer, and just it's a terrible thing. And so we do, of course, want to send our heartfelt condolences and well wishes to the McCain family. But of course, Senator McCain is a 6-term GOP senator who would be turning 82 years old next week. He's been away from his job in DC since December. Now, remember, he underwent surgery in July of 2017 to remove a blood clot in his brain after being diagnosed with this aggressive tumor that was called a glioblastoma. And so he had the surgery. He rebounded fairly quickly and returned to Washington in July of late July of 2017. And sadly, by fall, his condition had worsened, and he went back to Arizona, where he has been since December of 2017. And so there you have it. We'll keep the family in our thoughts and prayers. And speaking of the Senate, here's some good news coming from Senate. They, of course, recently passed a bill for $854 billion for schools, health, and the military. Now, $675 billion of that will go to the Defense Department, and then the rest will be dispersed between Health and Human Services, Education, and Labor, and other agencies. The bill was approved 85-7, and it now heads to the House. And they're reporting that this is 9 of 12 mandatory spending bills for the budget year that begins October 1st, and that the Senate had not passed a labor health spending bill in more than a decade. Isn't that something? All right, and then just some more government news. It looks like a new round of tariff hikes imposed between the United States and China is actually happening. That's right. We've been talking about it. We reported it here on the show a few weeks ago, but it was a 25% increase that is going to be applied to $16 billion of goods from each side, including automobiles and metal scrap from the United States and Chinese-made factory machinery and electronic components. It's been going on for a while. Talks and threats have been made, but it is happening right now, people. Some forecasters are saying that the impact of the United States tariffs on China's economy is small and manageable for now. But what about us? I distinctly recall reading that eventually these tariffs are going to trickle down to the consumer here in the United States, and we will be impacted. But nevertheless, this is where we are. All right, so apparently Trump has proposed another possible round of tariff hikes that involves another 25% increase on an additional $200 billion of Chinese goods. And of course, Beijing issued a $60 billion list of American products for retaliation if he goes forward or moves ahead with that next threat of tariffs. So again, who's affected most in all of this? Eventually, it's going to be you and me, people. But we digress and, of course, wish for the best. All right. Retail news, well, we've all been noticing it, observing, participating even in some of these liquidation sales that have been happening at Carson, Peary, Scott's, and they announced earlier this week that all the stores for sure will be closed by August 31st. Some of them have already closed because they've run out of merchandise, but those that are still open will be closed for good by August 31st. They have been in operation for 160 years and, of course, began liquidating due to bankruptcy because they couldn't find investors, people who would be interested in keeping the business going. So, you know, the world is changing, as we've heard. So Bon-Ton, which is the parent company of Carson's, is headquartered in York, Pennsylvania, and Milwaukee, but its Carson's and Bergner's chains began here in Illinois. And some 26 area Carson stores and 40 other locations here in Illinois have been affected. So there we go. We just got to watch things as they happen or turn it around. You have the power. All you got to do is get off your butt and get off that internet and start going back out to the department stores and the malls, people. All right, and then we heard that Sears is going to close about 46 more stores, and that's going to all happen by November of this year. 2 of those stores are here in Illinois. One is a Kmart in Stager, Illinois, and the other one is a Sears store in Bloomington. There you have it with that. Now, last month we reported that they closed their last store in Chicago, which was in the Portage Park neighborhood, which opened back in 1938. So a lot of history being lost here. Okay, let's take a quick look. Let's look at our time too. All right, we're okay. A quick look at the stock market. Well, the Dow is up 133.37. So is the S&P 500. They're up 17.71, and the NASDAQ is up 67.52. Stocks on the move. Everything's looking good for Autodesk Inc. They're up $20.89. ConocoPhillips is up 56 cents to $72.61. And Salesforce.com is doing pretty good as well. Those not doing so well is Hibbett Sports Inc. They're down $8.87, and The Gap is down $2.79. All right. And so that is it for our news. I did want to talk about Microsoft becoming the internet police, but we'll talk about that next time we're together, because it's an extensive report, and I'll just save it for next time. But I did want to share this tech news with you that I picked up a couple of weeks ago, actually. But there's an exhibit at the Smithsonian American Art Museum that is now available live in virtual reality. So you don't have to physically be there. You can do your tour of the museum via virtual reality. They've partnered with Intel to make iconic artwork more accessible and interactive through virtual reality. They're working with Sansar, which is a tech company, to make that goal of expanding its reach to 1 billion people around the world. So everyone doesn't have the bucks, the big money, to actually physically come out to their museum. And so they're going to make it possible for folks to not just watch a video of the art, pictures, but to actually feel like you're there, have that virtual reality experience. The exhibit is called No Spectators, The Art of Burning Man. And again, it's available for a limited time. You can go to www.sansar.com to actually see it. Or you can go to the Smithsonian American Art Museum website to get a connection there as well. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, this virtual reality stuff is real, everybody. All right. And I believe that's going to do it for our news. Isn't that something? Here I was thinking that we were running a bit late. I timed things a little off. So we'll wait for our guest. We have 2 guests today, and we'll wait for our first guest to give us a call so that we can properly introduce him and get into our talk. But August is Black Business Month, and so as we're closing out August, the last Saturday in August, we're going to talk to my next guest specifically about the business of Black music and where it's been, where it's headed, and so forth. But if you're a Black business out there, shouts out to you, and keep going, stay in there. In these days and times, it's difficult for some folks to have a brick and mortar, right? It's a bit challenging, but just stay on in there and things will get better. Okay, and so remember, our cafe talk is out there as well, and that question is, what is your favorite Aretha Franklin song? I have a lot of them. It was a challenge for me to just pick one, but you can text if you want. You can text to 815-593-1695. That's 815-593-1695 to share your favorite Aretha Franklin song, or if you just can't pick one, just share part of your list of favorites that way. Or you can catch me again on Marilyn's Cafe Society on Facebook, or at Marilyn's Cafe Social on Twitter, and we'll talk about that again a little bit later on in the show. Okay, so My next get my guest that we're waiting to hear from again is in the music industry, a part of the music industry, and sort of a champion for Black music, particularly R&B music. And so, again, he's going to be talking about the status of Black music and from a business perspective, and also how things were in the past. And there's ways that we can actually help some of our artists who aren't doing well financially. So we'll get all that information to you and hear from him. And then a bit later, we have another wonderful guest who's going to be stopping by the show. And of course, he'll be in the Chicagoland area next weekend. So he'll be sharing some good information as well. I tell you, here at Marilyn's Cafe Society, you never know who's going to stop by. So you want to make sure that you tune in with us every Saturday. We, for the most part, go live on YouTube. Sometimes the show is recorded or parts of the show is recorded. So just go to the YouTube channel, Marilyn's Cafe Society on YouTube, and subscribe, like, share, and all that good stuff. And of course, tune in so that you can see some of the good content that we have to bring you. Now, I know that I am a bit behind with the blog. I did get the website updated. For the most part, there's still a few things that I need to do with the Maryland's Cafe Society.com website, but the blog, but it is for the most part updated. The blog is still my big project that I have to bring up to speed and get back to blogging. So that, that'll be another way that we can, of course, stay connected when we're not actually doing the live YouTube broadcast. All right. All right. So, yep, we're just waiting for our caller to call in so that we can move forward with the show. And hopefully you guys were able to catch us from the top. We were about 5 minutes or so late getting started this afternoon, but that's okay. We're here and we're hanging out. Yeah, back on camera. Sometimes I'll be on camera, sometimes I won't. I guess it just depends on how fast we can get things going every morning with the show. We are also looking at radio opportunities, so you may actually hear this show back on the radio soon as well, and we will certainly keep you informed and updated as we get more information and details about that. Okay. Hey, what about the situation that's going on in Hawaii? Well, I understand that the hurricane Lane, I think was the name, has been downgraded to a tropical storm, but I'm hearing that they're getting all this rain and so forth. I think this is our caller. Let's see. Hey, welcome to Maryland's Cafe Society. Who am I speaking with?
Speaking with Charles Bronson.
All right. That's who I'm waiting to hear from. How are you?
I'm fine, and even finer now that I'm on the line with you.
Very good. I appreciate it. Well, listen, let me formally introduce you to our audience, Chaz. For those who aren't familiar, we have on the line as a special guest, Chaz Bronson. He is a songwriter, founder, president, CEO of Moen Records. Did I say that right?
No.
Uh-oh.
No. No, it's Mound Records.
Mound Records. Mound.
Yeah, like a pitcher's mound without the D. That's the
Right. Like the Mound Candy Bar without the D. Mound Records. And of course, I just described you as a champion of Black music, especially R&B music, and some of our old school singing groups.
Yes, that's an appropriate characterization of me. Yes.
All right. Well, listen, again, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you. And of course, we're celebrating August as Black Business Month. But today, you and I are going to touch on Black music business, the Black music business, the challenges artists face, as well as living legends. And of course, you celebrated Black Music Month back in June in a huge way with tributes with your group Hugs initiative. And Hugs is an acronym for Honoring Unforgettable Groups of Soul, which also includes radio DJs. Can you tell us just a little bit more about that, Chaz?
I started a project a few years ago entitled Group Hugs, and Group Hugs was supposed to be just a tribute song to the local groups that I was familiar with. But the more I got into it, I started discovering groups that I'd never heard of that had some great music that, just like me, many other people had never heard of. So I made it a point to pay homage to those groups and bring them to the attention of the people who didn't know about them, so that they can learn as I did as I was doing the project.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something for the groups because, not only did they not, or are they not getting any notoriety for the great contributions that they made to the music industry, a lot of them have fallen on hard times because of the way the music industry is structured. Back in like the 40s and 50s, with the contracts that the artists had signed with the record label, they don't see any residuals, and a lot of them were kind of muscled out of their copyright ownership of material that they produced, and they're no longer getting any money from that. So I wanted to produce something that I could generate money from and then donate it to an organization like the Living Legends Foundation, which is in place to assist our elder artists who are, in financial straits or going through a time of need.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a case where an artist needed heart surgery and they didn't have the money, and the Living Legends Foundation kicked in and they raised the money to pay for that heart surgery for the artist. And that's the kind of thing we need to do. We need to do it for ourselves.
Absolutely. And that's just a beautiful thing that you're doing. And I'm so glad that you were moved, Chaz, to make sure that our living legends were and are looked after. Now, I did check out that video, and I was really, really astounded with all of the groups from the past, from the 50s and 60s up through the 70s and 80s.
Right.
Yeah, because we know about the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Stylistics, but there are just so many.
Right, and unfortunately, we don't have ownership of our radio stations, our Black radio stations, where we can play those songs and share them with our audience. So we're stuck to this Black formatted radio thing where there's a programming director that comes in and says, okay, we're gonna program these 5 or 6 records to put them in rotation all day long, and that's all you hear. So, it's a lot that we're missing out on. It's a whole lot that we're missing out on. Like you said, we're familiar with the Temptations and the Four Tops, but you might not know who the Delta Rhythm Boys were.
Right. So people need to go check out that video, Group Hugs, and take a look, because you will be educated in that respect. But real quick, just back to radio. Radio is pay for play, right? It's a spin on the big no-no from times past.
Well, from my research, and I did a tribute to the DJs as well. I don't know if you got a chance to see that video. It's where I put the HUGS acronym to stand for Honoring Unforgettable Givers of Soul, where I paid homage to all of those great DJs that contributed to the soul music and R&B format from the 1940s going forward. And what I learned is that there was this system in place, particularly in the 50s, where it really became popular and brought out in the public. The system called payola, where it was pay for play, where DJs were paid in in a variety of ways, where they were either giving cash or they were giving gifts, trips where they could take their family on vacation, things like that, just for the opportunity to have their song played on their radio shows. And from my research, I'm kind of in between on that. A lot of the DJs, particularly Alan Freed, he was thrown under the bus because of his alleged participation in that system. But what you have to understand is back then, payola was common.
Right.
It was a common thing.
Because the DJ had all the power.
Yeah, they have all the power, and you can't knock them for that. I mean, if a DJ is good at what he or she does, and they develop a following, that's a good thing.
Right.
But see, the problem came when the radio stations, like, they would have a DJ that worked for their station, and the DJ would garner so much of a following from the public that if the radio station and the disc jockey were at odds with one another, and that station, let's say, fired the DJ, and that DJ left and went to another station, the audience would follow that DJ, and the listenership of that radio station would drop, and the radio stations didn't want that anymore.
Got it.
They came up with all kind of ways to prevent that from happening. They got clauses that prevent a DJ from working in the same region for like a year. On a station.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's noteworthy pertaining to that payola system is that what the stations did is they just really they set it up where now they would have a programming director in place of the disc jockey. But all they did was reroute the money from the DJ's hands to the radio station's hands, because there's still that whole thing where you have to pay to have your music played on the air.
Right.
So it's like, I will never knock a DJ for being good at what they do. Yes. And a DJ, quite naturally, if the DJ is a great DJ, everybody's going to be coming to that DJ to get airplay. And the DJ can't possibly play everyone. So, I mean, if he does play something that he likes, and the person who's benefiting from that wants to, reward the DJ, why not? Okay. That's how I feel.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to pay anyway at some point for it. And now, it's just like the fees just may be a little astronomical for some to ever be able to participate in the music industry as far as having their music played on the radio.
Do you think that the club DJs are just as probably equal to radio DJs these days?
When you say equal to, how do you mean?
In terms of their power, because the club, a lot of music breaks in the club nowadays, and the club DJ has a following as well.
Yeah, they're definitely they're extremely important. Because their hands are not tied. The DJ, when he goes in the club, his whole point is to keep everybody on the dance floor. And if a club DJ hears something that he likes, there's nothing handcuffing him and preventing him from playing it and sharing it with his audience.
Yeah.
And it's always good for a DJ to have those exclusives. And when they can break a song in the club, that's all good for the DJ. DJs love that.
Right.
And that's a good thing.
Right.
I think DJs have more, club DJs have more freedom than radio station DJs.
Right. Right.
I mean, imagine what it would be like being a disc jockey and you have your own radio show, but you can't play what you really, really, really want to play.
Right.
You know, you play like 5 or 6 songs in a rotation, like over and over again.
Yeah. 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 Things have definitely changed in that respect in terms of the music business in general. And then, of course, we have these these online music service companies like Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal and all of them. How do you think they're affecting things?
What was the question?
How do you think they're impacting things in terms of the music industry in general and black music specifically?
Well, I think they can provide a very needed option for the listener, because when the listener doesn't want to listen to radio, where do they go?
Online.
Where can they go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can go right online, and a lot of times the new music that you hear, it doesn't come from the radio, because radio is not going to play new music like that. You know, they're restricted, very restricted.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if your appetite is for new and independent music, or just, you know, just the latest tracks from your favorite artist, you do better going online to discover it than you would waiting to hear it on the radio. You know, I often speak on, pardon me, it was an interview I heard on the D.L. Hughley show some months ago. He was interviewing Layla Hathaway. And Layla Hathaway had just released her newest album. And they were talking about her first single. And the subject matter of the song was about a girl who was kicking her man out or something like that, right? And D.L. was like, well, it seems like it's kind of harsh. And Layla was like, nah, it's not harsh. Why don't you check it out and see what it is, what I'm talking about. And, play it. And D.L. was like, oh, no, we don't break new music here. That's not what we do. And I thought that was real telling about the state of the radio industry.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. There was a time when you would look forward, not only as the audience, but the DJs would look forward to breaking a new song to the audience. But that comment right there was like, wow, man, this is something new, and I can't really, it's hard for me to really accept that.
Okay. Yep. It's things are changing, but like you said, music lovers and even artists have other options now with the online music services and so forth. But let's.
Yeah, and there's room for improvement. There is room for improvement. I mean, these are the beginning stages of the Spotify's and the Pandora's and all that stuff. There definitely is room for improvement, particularly with the pay system that they have in place for the artists whose music they play. I mean, they pay like fractions of a penny to the artists, and that just sounds so much like the 1950s record contracts that the artists would sign.
Yeah, it's like the artist has always hit the hardest, it seems.
Yes.
They come out on the losing end of everything, and you were speaking of artists of yesteryear, but it's even a problem today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, you have things in place like Sound Exchange that they work for the artists, and they assist artists and get them some residuals that artists typically weren't able to recoup or get in the past.
What is that called?
Sound Exchange. exchange.
Sound exchange. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they monitor the airplay and they work to get artists residuals
Got it.
and things of that nature. But this system, the way it is right now, should really inspire artists to not only be an artist and be writers, producers, and publishers. Because when you're an artist, the idea is this. The thought process behind the whole case system is that you're just a singer. And the songwriter could have put that song on any other artist that can sing as well. And that artist would have had a hit. That's their thinking. So they feel like the producers and the songwriters should be paid first, because without them there is no song, there is no hit, and nobody would even know the artist.
Oh,
you understand?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you're an artist and you have a great instrument, vocally or something you have to offer, it'd be a great idea if you learn how to write and produce your own material. Because once you can do that, not only can you keep yourself afloat in the industry and not have to wait for somebody to produce you and come along and write something for you, you can actually write and produce for other artists in the interim between projects.
And still be able to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we're pushed up against the clock. I do have another guest who's going to be checking in, but Chaz, let's just talk about the Living Legends Foundation again, and keep up the work that you're doing in terms of challenging and speaking out about the cultural appropriation of not only the Black culture but our music. Certainly, we don't mind sharing our music, but we don't want to be erased out of the picture either. So please continue your work in that. But let's just get that information about the Living Legends Foundation out there one more time.
Yeah, you can look up the Living Legends Foundation.com. Look them up at that website, livinglegendsfoundation.com, and you can see more about them and their organization and what they do. And with regards to how I'm connected with them, my song, you can download it for free on the distributor's website, which is cdbaby.com, and you can get that group hug song and download it for free. We just ask that if you download it for free, that you donate whatever you can to an organization like the Living Legends Foundation, so that they can help the artists that came before us, and just keep in tune with what we're trying to do here, because I'm donating 100% of the proceeds from the residuals that are generated from download sales at like iTunes and Amazon.com and things of that nature. That's what I'm doing on my end.
Got it.
And as far as appropriation, I don't know if you saw the video pre-tech. Did you?
I believe I did back in May when I first got introduced to you. I believe so.
Well, I didn't really release that one until late in June. It's called Pretext, and that deals with the appropriation of Black music by white artists.
Okay.
And I had to create a censored version because YouTube wouldn't allow me to promote the uncut version. It's still available if you want to see it. It's there on YouTube, but that deals with that. So all you can close it up.
And that's an acronym, Pretext.
Right, and it stands for Prejudice Restricts Exposing Today's Extraordinary Talent. And what I did is I used the example of what happened with Little Richard and Pat Boone.
Okay.
I showed how this is it's a phenomenon that dates way back to the 50s, and they're continuing to do it to this day.
Okay. Got it. All right. So we can get group hugs. That's H.U.G.S. and that's for honoring unforgettable groups of soul. You can go to cdbaby.com for that. Also, livinglegendsfoundation.com to help out, and check out Pretext. And then, of course, moundrecords.com. That's mound without the D, records.com.
That is correct.
Hey, Chaz, before I let you go, real quick, my cafe talk is, what is your favorite Aretha Franklin song?
Wow. I gotta say, it's so many, but I love her live version of Dr. Feelgood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They call me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, oh man, see, why do you do that to me? And I also gotta say, until you come back to me, the one that Stevie Wonder wrote.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Those were on my list too, Chaz. Because you can't just pick one.
She, her volume, her catalog is so heavy.
Yes, it is.
So much.
Yes. Well, listen, it was a pleasure. We got to get to this next caller. Appreciate you, and I'm sure we'll be connecting in the future as well. Keep up your work.
Thank you, and I look forward to it. Thanks for letting me talk to your audience.
No problem, Chaz.
All right.
Peace.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, and that, of course, is Chaz Bronxson, son from the Bronx, who is really trying to do some good for our old school musical groups from the 50s and 60s and 70s and beyond, who are faced with challenges educating folks on the music business, and while, of course, putting his own stuff out. So again, that's moundrecords.com. That's Mound, MOUN, records.com, and cdbaby.com to download the group Hugs song, which of course benefits the livinglegendsfoundation.com. All right. Thank you again, Chaz, for stopping by. Now we're going to go to, move the camera a little bit. We're going to go to our next guest. We are running just a bit late, but hopefully he's still hanging around waiting for our phone call. And let's get him on the line.
Oh.
Hi, I'm trying to reach Lewis Hayes, please.
Who's trying to reach Lewis Hayes?
Marilyn May of Maryland's Cafe Society.
Marilyn. I'm Lewis Hayes.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay. I talked with Nisha, who said it was cool to call you.
It is.
Fantastic. Now, you might not remember, but we talked maybe 8 years ago.
No kidding, Dusty. I wouldn't be. No, I don't remember.
But it is a pleasure to have you on the line again, Mr. Hayes, and to be able to speak with you. Can I just let the audience know who you are?
Wait a minute. I'm doing an interview right now?
Yes.
I didn't have any idea. What is this for?
This is Maryland's Cafe Society. I broadcast out of Chicago. You're going to be here next week for the Jazz Festival.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And so...
Maryland's Jazz, I got to hit this in my head right now. See, I was unprepared.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't know you were going to call it this time.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I communicated with Nisha. Or Nisha.
Okay.
And
Yes.
she gave me the number and said that you would be expecting me to call you.
Okay, well, I'm with you, but I'm sure I wasn't aware of it.
Okay.
So, yes, well, thank you for calling, and I look forward to being there next Friday.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so let me just let everybody know who you are. You are Lewis Hayes, a prolific jazz drummer who has
Yeah.
received all kinds of honors and awards and tributes from the United States House of Representatives, from the state of Michigan, from the city of Detroit, from the state of Louisiana. You've played and recorded with George Benson, Thelonious Monk, John Coltrane, and many others. You, of course, were a part of the Horace Silver Quintet, the Cannonball Adderley Orchestra, Oscar Peterson, and you even had your own Lewis Hayes group. And I'm just, again, thrilled to be speaking with you as we approach the 40th annual Chicago Jazz Festival that actually kicked off on yesterday, everybody, and it's going to run through September 2nd. But you can catch Lewis Hayes next Friday, which is the 31st of August, at the Millennial Park venue where he will be performing. So again, welcome to Maryland's Cafe Society.
Maryland's Cafe Society. I hope I see you there. I hope I see
Yeah.
so many people that I'm aware of in Chicago because my first experience, I had so many wonderful experiences in Chicago. It's one of my number one places to appear,
Yes.
especially at the Sutherland Lounge when I first was there. And was at 47th and Drexel.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, you're going way back.
Oh yes, I first came to Chicago. I think it was 57 or 58. That was my first experience coming to Chicago to play music.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I've met so many. I had so many wonderful experiences in Chicago. So I'm always looking forward to coming to Chicago.
All right. Well, listen, Chicago is looking forward to seeing you. Now, I read that you left Detroit when you were just 18 years old, headed to New York City to become a part of the Horace Silver Quintet.
It's almost true. I had just turned 19.
Okay.
That was in 1956. So 18 and 19, that's too much. I mean, that's not much of a difference.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And that was your entree into the vast world of jazz.
Exactly right. Well,
Yeah.
being coming up in Chicago, coming up in Detroit, I, my mother and father, they introduced me to this art form, and listening to people that I have respected on the radio there, and all the fantastic artists that were in Detroit at the time. And so that's how I began this journey that I love.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Now listen, did you know Aretha Franklin?
Crazy, what happened, actually, I went to a school called Hudson, intermediate school, with Aretha's sister, Irma.
Okay.
And Aretha was still, I was born in 37. Aretha was born in, I think, 41 or 2, something like that. So it was different in our ages.
Okay.
My brother actually went to school with Aretha, the same school.
Okay.
But I didn't really know Aretha in Detroit. I met Aretha after I was here in New York several times. We in San Francisco one time. She was playing piano and singing in this club called the Jazz Workshop.
Okay.
And I was there. And so I knew Aretha like that. But I never met her in Detroit when we were kids.
Okay. All right. Well, she has a jazz background too.
Yes, exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, do you have a favorite Aretha song?
I do. And it's knock on the door, tap on the window.
Oh, Until You Come Back to Me.
That's what it's called.
Okay. All
I
right.
like that one.
You know what? I like it too. And you know Stevie Wonder wrote that.
Stevie Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. So yeah, that's I would say since I had to pick one, I'll pick that one.
There you go. Yeah, she. You know what I call that? The ultimate stalker song.
You got a girl. I never thought of that, but it's a good point.
It's a I don't want to let you go song.
Oh, like you said, the stalker song. I never thought of that, but I like to feel it. I like to raise it. I like to feel it, but that stalker stuff.
Yeah, she said I'm gonna knock on your door.
That's
Tap
it.
on your window pane.
You know exactly how I think to do with it.
She said, I'm gonna sit by your steps until I get through to you. That's a you can't get rid of me song. But she sung it, and I was just a little kid.
Okay.
You know, maybe 9, 10 years old when it came out, but I was feeling it. I didn't know what the heck, love was, but I was feeling that song.
Yes, okay. I don't know the lyrics, but I just like to do it. I like to feel it.
Yes. And that's what she could do. She can make you feel the music. Sort of like how you handle the drums, people can feel the drums, when you play. So
well, I feel like the drums are. It's very important because if you have a group, and you don't have a drummer that can handle things at a right level, you really don't have a group.
there you go.
Yeah.
So listen, tell me about this John L. Nelson project, Don't Play with Love.
Yes. Well, I never mentioned it to anyone when I was coming up years ago, but Prince is my first cousin. He's still around the way he did. My mother, who is the oldest, several kids in the family, but my mother and his father, brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Yeah, so Prince's sister, Sharon, we were very young, but she's back in Minneapolis now. She lived here in San Francisco, but she lived in Manhattan for a long time. But now she's back home in San Francisco. And Paisley Park, Prince's home and where he recorded things and places he had there. Sharon wanted me to come back, put a group together and come back to Minneapolis and record her father's music, who was John, my uncle. So that's what I did. And it's been released now. So that's what happened with that project. And I plan on going back and doing some more things with her, and it was so because she's a family. So I want to really, I'm looking forward to really dealing with the family and Paisley Park.
Okay. So Sharon's father, John L. Nelson, is your first cousin.
Yeah, he's my uncle.
He's your uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because your mom and his and he were brothers.
There you go.
Yeah, that's amazing. So
Yes, isn't it?
okay, so he was a musician, as we all learned in that movie Purple Rain. He too was also a musician.
That's right. Played
Yeah.
piano.
Yeah. And so you did this Don't Play with Love project, the John L. Nelson project that people can appreciate, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. So we got to make sure we check that out, everybody. And then your next big thing is the Serenade for Horace.
Yes, you know exactly what to say. Horace, like you said earlier, he called me and asked me to come to New York in '56, August of this month. California for years, and then coming back to this New York area, place New Rochelle. He bought a wonderful home there, and then he got very, very sick.
Okay.
And his son, Michael, we shouldn't want to say it right, but his son would call me and ask me to come up and visit. Said, Horace, why don't you come in? Because Horace is very private. But I would go up and visit with Horace, and we would talk about a lot of things.
Okay.
So when he passed away, this lady, she's coming to Chicago also with me. She's a business person, and she asked me what would I like to do. So I said that I would like to do a project, record something for Horace. And I said that I would like to do it on Blue Note Records because that was the label that he was involved in when I came to New York. So she put it together, and that's what I did. And I stayed number one on the charts for a very long time. I was happy about that.
Okay.
Yes, that's what happened with Horace.
All right. Well, those are two projects that we can certainly look forward to. And we, of course, can go to your website, lewishayes.net, to get the information, more information on that. But in the mean and between time, people, if you want to hear Louis Hayes up close and personal, you have to check him out at the 40th annual Chicago Jazz Festival, Friday, August 31st. I think you go on at 3:45, something like that.
You know, I do not know exactly when I go on, but
yeah,
we're going to be ready. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, at Millennial Park. And listen, this is the best part, everybody. It's free. It's free. So,
right.
you know, it's a rare opportunity to hear this music, jazz great. The prolific jazz drummer, Louis Hayes. I encourage you to go. And of course, Mr. Hayes, as always, it's a pleasure to speak with you. And I will look for you if they let me back there. I'll look for you on Friday.
I'll look for you. It's my pleasure. Please come back here. I would love to see you in Chicago. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for calling me.
Absolutely. All right. You continue to enjoy this day, and we'll see each other next week.
It was my pleasure.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. See you there.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Peace.
I got it.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That, of course, was my last guest for today's show, the prolific drummer, jazz drummer, Louis Hayes, who, again, will be here in Chicago. He's played in all of the prominent jazz festivals over the years and is coming back once again to Chicago for the annual Chicago Jazz Festival. You can catch him Friday, August 31st in Millennial Park and enjoy his music. You can go to his website, lewishayes.net, and find out how to get some of the latest music that he's been working on. Of course, we talked about Don't Play With Love, which is a special project that he did for his uncle, John L. Nelson, who happens to be the father of music icon Prince. Yeah. And then he also did a project for the person who's responsible for opening the doors to him in the jazz world, and that is Horace Silver. So make sure you check that out. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Hayes, again, for taking some time out on this day to talk with me and the Cafe Society. All right. So Cafe Talk is up. And again, it is what is your favorite Aretha Franklin song? And as I shared with my guests just now, there's just so many of them for me. But the one that I actually got introduced to, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was just this kid. I'm not quite sure how old I was, but it was Christmas time, and my dad was playing Christmas music, and he played this one Christmas song called Winter Wonderland. And I was like, who is that? And then from there on, I was hooked. And anybody who's been with Maryland's Cafe Society over the years know that I sing that song during most times. There have been a few years where I haven't sung it, but for my annual Christmas broadcast, I always sing Aretha Franklin's rendition of Winter Wonderland. And then, of course, Respect is another favorite. Rocksteady, as my two guests said, Until You Come Back to Me, and Bridge Over Troubled Waters, Call Me. Oh, the list just goes on and on. You just cannot pick one, right? So I'll be jumping on social media a bit later to see what you guys shared. And again, you can text now before we sign off if you want to real quick say what one or two or three of your favorite Aretha songs are. 815-593-1695. In the mean between time, here's the update on how Aretha will be celebrated. It's going to be a week long of performances in remembrance of Aretha Franklin, starting with a public viewing that will be held at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, and then a public concert at Cheney Park is set for Thursday. That will be August 30th. And of course, there's just an all-star list of performances for that particular concert, as well as her service. Stevie Wonder, Faith Hill, Jennifer Hudson, Fantasia, Shirley Caesar, Ron Isley, Shaka Khan, Yolanda Adams. Oh, goodness. Marvin Sapp, the Clark Sisters, the Aretha Franklin Orchestra. Just the list goes on and on and on. And she, of course, will be funeralized on Friday, August 31st. And the service, they're reporting that the service will reflect mostly on her gospel roots. And it will be held at the Greater Grace Temple in Detroit. And sadly, we all know that we lost her last Thursday, the 16th, as she lost her life to pancreatic cancer. So again, our condolences and love and hugs to her family and everyone who loved them some Aretha Franklin, not only for her music, but particularly for her, knowing her as mother, grandmother, aunt, cousin, friend. Our hearts are certainly with you. It's a huge loss, and I'm sure they're going to do a wonderful job. It will be so nice if they could televise all of that, right? Yeah. All right, so I guess that's it. We started a bit late, maybe 5 minutes or so late, and just running a little late because the talk was so good with my guests. But before we go, I do want to remind you guys to remember the ladies of the WNBA. They are in the midst of the playoffs, the semifinals. Seattle versus Phoenix and Atlanta versus Washington. So make sure you support them. And also make sure that you find me on Twitter, Marilyn's Cafe Soch, and follow. And also on Facebook, Marilyn's Cafe Society, and like and follow or friend, and also share. And then also catch me right here on YouTube each Saturday, starting at noon, for Maryland's Cafe Society live broadcast. Make sure that you subscribe, like, share, and all of that good stuff as well. Before we go, I have to tell you what love is. And this week, love is when all you can think of is her. Okay, that's a good one. And remember, folks, if you don't do anything else this week, be sure that you take some time to live, to laugh, and love. As always, it's been a pleasure and a privilege, and we'll do it again next Saturday right here on YouTube. Peace. Have a great week.